Do we have Tom Hiddleston still there? We do not. So, Tom, I'm sure you're still watching. Jump back on and I'll try and jump you back in. And in the meantime, while, oh, is that you there? You've just popped up. No, that is, I could get better at this. I could get better at it. I feel like, because what's happening is, no, there you are. I've requested you, but sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So let's see if you're going to pop back on. Do I have any tips how to overcome nerves as a drama student? I'm sorry. Have I ever written a book about theatre? I have not written a book about theatre. I probably should be doing that during lockdown. Tom, there you are.
Hi.
Hello. Brilliant. Someone's just saying, I'm like the David Attenborough trying to find the elusive bird that is you. That is really beautiful, and I feel like people are just probably getting into metaphor.
Mm.
The National Theatre says I'm doing so great, Josie. So that's very encouraging. Thank you, National Theatre.
I loved what Peter was saying about
beautiful, wasn't it?
Yes, all of it.
Yeah.
Two horses, both going in different directions.
Yeah.
I think that's Plato.
Is it?
I think that's a Platoism. Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, you're good, Tom. Has anyone Googled it? People should, because actually you should be watching Coriolanus. So we will find that out later and post.
We will.
We will source Peter's quote.
Yeah.
Now my
see everyone.
What's that done?
It's so nice to see everyone.
I know. I
think this endeavour we did.
Yeah.
Also, what Peter was saying about what a fun time we had, often very true. I've done 2 Shakespearean tragedies in the Donmar Warehouse, Othello and Coriolanus. And on both occasions, we've had a kind of unreasonably good time backstage. A lot of laughter is my memory of both companies. And I think that's something you have to, you sort of have to some people say when they come and see you do something that's very heavy, they go, yeah, God, this must be such hard work. And you're sustained by the levity that somehow the joint endeavour gives to you. And as we know, Deborah Findlay, the great Deborah Findlay, used to initiate a nightly Deb's disco.
Yes.
Which is basically a kind of backstage, literally a backstage disco to a European dance track, The Great Beauty by Paolo Sorrentino. And the dancing was a way of sort of leavening the gravity of what we were about to go and do.
Yeah. Because it is an exceptionally heavy play, and it's going into this final straight now, those of you who are with us and watching, where it becomes unconquerably bleak and difficult to watch and endure, and being probably, along with Erin Murphy, our DSM, who was on at the start, the person who watched it the most, it was never not extraordinarily moving. And we're about to go into the bit of the play where Menenius, who is your great ally, in a different way from Cominius, played by Peter de Jersey, who we just saw, to an extent your father figure, is tormented at the entrance to your treacherous camp. You know, he's mishandled, and he's going to come in and plead with you. Someone's just saying on the comments, Tom, smile. He can't smile while he's thinking about it because it's so sad, this scene.
I love the there's a line, and Mark delivered this so beautifully, is you know, Menenius, Mark's character is so believes that he has the constancy of Marcia's affection, that he might be rude or unreconciled with people he doesn't know as well, but it's Menenius, it's his uncle, it's family, it's it's his people,
Yeah.
and he is rebuffed with such extreme coldness and such extreme cruelty. And the poetry Menenius has here is some of the most eloquent in the play, which expresses both Menenius' shock and what's happened to the soul of Coriolanus, which is, he says, after this scene, he says, he's changed from man to dragon. When he walks, he moves like an engine, and the ground shakes before his treading.
Yeah.
And that image was such a great note for me from Shakespeare, which is
in a pre-robotic, in a kind of pre-machine age, in a pre-industrial age. It's an industrial image from Shakespeare, you know.
But they don't have engines, or they don't, you know, that this man has become a machine.
Yeah.
Something without feeling or sentiment, without compassion, without empathy, without any human softness.
Yeah.
At this point, and it's such a
and he hardens and hardens and hardens, doesn't he, until the conclusion. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at Mark's face here, which is a sentiment that's born in its own version by Peter de Jersey when he comes back to relate in an earlier scene that he couldn't persuade you. It's that awful realization that someone you love so much you cannot change.
Yeah.
And whatever has occurred between you is irrevocable and can't be fixed. You know, I think it's funny, actually, I was thinking of this moment between you when I saw you in Betrayal, because I think that one of the things that you as a cast embodied so poetically and beautifully in Jamie Lloyd's fantastic production was the idea that something occurred that could not be fixed, and what the consequence of that was.
And people incapable of the correct kind of communication, which would engender forgiveness.
Yeah.
And reconciliation.
Yeah.
You know, what's the breaking point?
Yeah.
This martyrs has wings, says Menenius.
There you go.
He's changed from man to dragon. It's such a powerful image, isn't it?
Yeah.
That he's somehow corrupted his soul with such an intensity of internal fire. You know?
The brilliant Robert Hastie, who is the associate director on this production, now on Sheffield Theatres, and I actually sat together for a week with the play, and Rob, mainly, me a bit, but mainly Rob, did something which it takes a very skilled cutter of Shakespeare to do. He crafted this scene that you're watching now with Mark. So we had to cut very heavily toward the end of the play because we didn't have enough cast members to do the scale of it, and also wanted to streamline it, I guess, a bit. So there's lots of scenes with Volskis in them that aren't there. But Mark will do what is effectively a soliloquy that's been crafted by Rob and me a bit to stand for a lot of action that we compressed to this part of the play, and he does it so
amazing,
beautifully.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He's so great. Someone's just said they can't donate from where they are via Instagram. If you want to go onto the National Theatre's website, you can donate there via PayPal if you are international, or there are text numbers you can text to, just to say and answer that question. Tom, I just had a really good question that I thought, just to come off topic slightly, you'd be well placed to answer. Any advice for women directors? And I'm definitely a woman director, but you have worked with many women directors.
Do I have advice for women?
Yeah, someone who's an aspiring female director, but I just thought you've worked with so many women directors, and I suppose, is there something, I'm sure they're all infinitely different, but is there something that draws you particularly toward working with them? Is it about them as individual artists, or do you think there's a different quality or vibe that you get from working with a female director?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I would I just want to. I would first want to kind of redirect the energy. Probably the best advice for women directors is to come from women directors. So I don't want to mansplain my way into this. In some
no, okay, yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah, but
well, that's very respectful, but
at the same time, I've been very lucky in my life to work with lots of women, a huge number in film and in theatre, on contemporary work and in classical work, and there's an argument to be made that maybe my most interesting work has been directed by women, and I don't know. I would hate to generalize about
absolutely,
an
and
entire.
I'm wrong to pull you toward a generalization. That's you're right, Tom. It's just I
But
think
the experiences have been wonderful. I mean, including with you, Joe. So I'll be honest. Like, it's I've had
really because while you were off this Instagram live, I was having to do this so I could charge my phone. So like, I'm clearly not that great at directing.
Well, okay. Well, but you solved it though. I watched it in awe and wonder about this repetitive situation. But it was very funny. It was very funny when you were trying to read the comments with Hadley and you were just doing that.
Yeah.
And it was
trying to get Rosie's come in her pajamas. Yeah.
So by the way, I'll come back. I should respond to Hadley's question, which is that the beard is very soft, just in case everyone was wondering.
Okay, that's good. And I'm just going to repeat.
But I want to detract from your question.
Went down. We can confirm that Hadley's beard is soft.
There you go. But do I have advice for women directors? I suppose my advice. I'm very hesitant to give advice, often because I believe that most people like to find their own way. But to that end, if I had any advice to give, it's to how best to say this, to just be as true to yourself as you can, because there are, and I'd say that to anyone who is an artist, is that the more honest and authentic you can be about your own personal experience of being alive, the more likely the specificity of that experience will connect with somebody else. And so not to try to bend or shift or change or just be honest about what you want to say, and say it as loudly as you can. Tell the story that you want to say. I'm curious, what advice do you have for women directors?
I mean, that I think what you said is the Shakespeare version of that, isn't it? Is to thine own self be true. Yes. And I think it's
and it must follow as night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man.
Romping in with another 12 points there for completing the quote. So I think yes, and I think for me anyway, it takes a long time to work out who you are and how you want to articulate that, and sometimes you're doing that through your work. So sometimes a call to authenticity with yourself can actually generate confusion as much as it can clarity. So it's okay to say you don't know. It's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to be in a rehearsal room and to know that from your authority can come the response, I don't know what we're going to do about that, let's work it out. And sometimes the expectation that's put on you is as a woman, is to deliver and to be efficient and to be perfect and to get things right. And sometimes it's not about getting it right. And I think the older I get, for I am getting older, the other thing I realize is that the work of other women directors, and also the work of anybody whose voice may have been excluded from the process of telling stories, on film in particular, in theatre, certainly as well, is that every time you do that, you make some space for other people. And that's a beautiful thing. So actually, even if you don't feel like your endeavor has ever completely succeeded, because you never do when you do a play or direct a film, or if you never go, wow, I aced that, you know, you'll always have that voice in your head that goes, it wasn't right. Know that part of what you're doing is making space for people. So
that's great. Yeah.
Say that.
Massive shout out to all the other women directors as well
that you've worked with. Amazing people.
Joanna Hogg, Thea Sharrock, Susanna Beer, Hetty MacDonald, Aisling Walsh. Hang on.
Who's directing your current thing? Who's that?
Kate Herron. Kate Herron.
There you go.
Herron directing Loki.
There's that small boy finally getting an opportunity to act, not paint.
Yes.
That's good.
I am unfortunately drawing a terrible blank. I know there's more which I feel awful about, but I don't have my...
They don't mind, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Final straight,
This is it. This is where he's trying to shore up his reserves of obstinacy. And actually he can feel it. So Marcius knows he's isolated himself, and he's so stubborn in his refusal to accept any desire for reconciliation from Rome. And he now knows this is his biggest test, which is at the arrival of his wife, his son, and his mother. And it will be very hard to turn them away. And you can see himself almost kind of, he sort of stores himself up with a kind of coldness, as if to fortify himself against compassion. But it's going to be a big challenge, because if Coriolanus is a man of honor, how honorable is it to turn your mother away? And this is, I don't know, there's all the humility which he has lacked for the whole play is starting to rise, I think. And he's starting to feel the shame and the consequence. I keep going back to this word consequence, by which I mean, in life, you do something and there is a result of what you do. And Marcius seems to be unaware of the result. He just doesn't think about consequence. What's going to happen if I say this? What's going to happen if I do this? He just does it. And in this scene, he's starting to become aware of the gravity of the consequences of his actions. Which is why I keep talking about his lack of capacity to self-reflect, which my rather nerdy Shakespearean brain starts to go, in so many of his tragedies, the protagonist is allowed to soliloquize, is allowed to talk to the audience and think things through.
Hamlet mainly goes, hang on a minute, can I just have a think about this?
Wait, let's all just wait and think about this for a second. And Hamlet's great source of shame is that he says at one point, I'm thinking too much. I'm not doing enough. And he's almost tortured by the doubt of it. Coriolanus has no doubt. He only has certainty. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try, Tom, just because we are very close to the final straight, aren't we? I'm going to jump out from you and just really quickly see if I can say hi to Sunita, who was the fourth backstage.
Oh, Sunita.
Right? Let me
just see if I
can do that. But
Sunita,
do that thing where you're ready to come back in, I don't want to miss the end of the play with you.
Okay. So, Sunita is our company manager and responsible for everyone and everything. And she wears more hats in terms of the job she did than any other person in this company.
Okay,
Can't wait
I'm
for you.
jumping out before
Okay.
Deborah Finley cracks you.